Are you looking for new construction homes in and around the Austin area? If so, this video is directed at you because it is so important that you understand what risks there are with purchasing a new home. And look, there are some absolute horror stories over the last couple years of people getting booted out days before they're supposed to move into their new home, and they didn't understand the contracts. And that is why it's so important to have a realtor on your side. And that's my job. My name is Josh Parker, your Austin realtor, born here in Austin, Texas. And if you have any questions real estate related, just Austin in general related, reach out in the comments section below, or you'll find a link in my description and you can set up a online consultation for absolutely no charge. So, new home construction. Why is it so important to have a realtor on your side? Well, first things first, it doesn't cost you a dime to have me represent you. The builder is going to continue to make their money whether you use a realtor or you don't. And at the end of the day, the builder's sales reps are there to represent the builder. They are not there to represent you. And that is the big difference that you guys have to keep in mind. So, number one, call a realtor. If it's not me, reach out to somebody that you know and have them represent your best interest at all times during the new construction build. So as I mentioned, we heard horror story after horror story all across the country, and it even happened here in the Austin area where people were losing out months down the road after going through all the headache of having their home built, what they may have called their dream home, all to have the builder at the end go, well, sorry, we're not going to sell it to you at this point because we can go make more money down the road selling it to somebody else. And it happened over and over and over again. And you see that in the news, in the media, on TV, and it's terrible, guys. Like I said, not all builders are bad. There are a ton of great builders out there, but at the end of the day, their sales agents are there to sell their homes and make money for the business. It's just part of business. However, they set aside funds to have you be represented, whether it's 1% or 3%. At the end of the day, they've set that money aside. They are not going to give you that discount just because you don't have an agent. It doesn't work that way. So understanding the ins and outs of the new home construction contract, because they do not use the typical 1 to 4 contract, you need to understand what your risks are and how to mitigate that to the best of your ability. Last year, they were charging $10, $20, $30, $40, $100,000 over because of lumber pricing. Do you think they came down when pricing came down? Not right away. And right now, builders are offering some amazing incentives for you as a home buyer, whether you get it directly from the builder or their preferred lender. You have options out there. So beyond just the lumber increases and other terminology that they have in their own contracts, we also have what they call if you are late in closing because you use somebody other than their preferred lender, and they will try to hammer you with all these fees. However, if they bump the date back, there is no protection for you and what you're out, because they just have that control built into their contract. So you need somebody on your side that's going to fight for you and go to the upper management and whoever it takes to get results. Because it's important that you are in your home when they say you are supposed to be in that home. And look, if it's weather related or something like that happens, and it does all too often, some things are out of the control. However, if they're going to hold you responsible for a deadline, but not hold themselves responsible, that's where you need an agent to be on your side. Now, let's keep going beyond contract, and now we're into the build phase. Now, I know that most of y'all understand that there is checks and balances in it, and people are going to go and look at the home and make sure it's being built properly. However, I can tell you hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times that things aren't done the way that they should be. That's the benefit of hiring me, because I come from the construction world. I understand the ins and outs of what it takes to build these things, what to look for when it's not being built properly, and also to advise you that it is perfectly acceptable to have an outside inspector come in and do the framing inspection, come in and do the drywall inspection, come in and make sure that the guts of the home are being built up to code and to the standards that they should be, and not what the builder's inspector necessarily says is okay. Because I've found it a dozen times, issues during framing, issues during drywall, and if it's not caught, they're not going to fess up to it. Yes, most of them have a 1-year warranty, bumper to bumper if you want to call it, but that's about it. Now, as I mentioned early on, builder is going to ask that you apply with their preferred lender, and they will throw some incentives out at you. And on some instances, their lender is great to use, and sometimes the deals can't be beat. However, I always suggest to my clients to talk to a different lender or a couple different lenders and compare what each of them can do for you to get into that new home. Now, do you have to use their lender? Absolutely not. But they will push and push and push for you to do so. That is why understanding your rights as a potential home purchaser, understanding those is super important, and that's why you have a realtor guiding you through this process. Now, let's get through the construction, the lending, and now we're towards the closing. You are going to get to go blue tape and green tape punch the home, and sometimes the walks go perfect and there's very little to punch, but other times there is a mountain of items that need to be done, and they can try to force your hand at that point to go, okay, some of these items are going to remain after closing, but it doesn't have to. You can force their hand at that point. You can make the builder perform and have the house ready for you, unless it's just something that is oddball and out of stock, or they've put a replacement in its place until the new item comes in. Then there are a few instances that that's okay. But again, I'm there to help guide you and be on your side and fight for you with these new construction contractors. So, all said and done, you've done what you needed to do. You've performed your side of the bargain. It is up to them to perform on their side, and that all encompasses what it takes to get into some of these new homes. Now, as I mentioned in the very beginning, right now here in the Austin area, builders are starting to pick up pace. They're starting to throw some crazy incentives, and they are starting to sell quite a few homes. I've seen it over the last couple weeks continue to pick up steam and continue to sell more and more. So if you've been on the fence and you haven't jumped at it, again, right below in the link tree, you can set up an appointment. Let's talk about your options and get out there and go find you that new build that you've been wanting for who knows how long, and make the process simple and easy for you as a home buyer, and an enjoyable one. Because at the end of the day, it's one of your largest purchases that you will ever make, but it can be the most frustrating if you don't have all your ducks in a row and somebody backing you up. Hope this all helps. Y'all have a great day, and we'll see y'all soon.